Clay Moore.
Oh, thank y'all for having me tonight. Ooh, that Redeem, that's a powerful song, isn't it? Man. I'm just gonna give y'all an introduction. I'm from Statesboro, little community outside of Statesboro, Middle Ground. I grew up, my dad started a fence company when I was born, and he used to say, if I had $1 for every hole I ever dug, I'd be rich right now. But anyway, my parents divorced when I was 5, and I moved to Brunswick, Georgia with my mama. And my brother stayed back with my dad or whatever. And I stayed down there for probably about maybe 3 years or so. And anyway, just some things was going on down there, things that I was around and stuff. And anyway, I ended up moving back to Statesboro, back with my dad, and my grandmother lived next door. And so being the baby grandson, you know, I was spoiled. I still had to work every day, but just spoiled, knew how to get away with things, knew how to manipulate people. That was something I've always been good at, is being able to manipulate the system and manipulate everybody around me, and especially the females. I could manipulate them. Anyway, I wasn't too good of a person or whatever. I was arrogant, everything, but just played a lot of sports. Growing up, my dad always made us work. He said we work from can to can. He says, I go to work sick, you're going to go to school sick. I might come home sick from work, but you can come home from school sick. You're going to go to school. And so me and my brother never missed a day of school for 12 years, both of us. That's one thing about it. That school bus come around, you better be on it. But anyway, so during the summers or whatever, the hot summers or whatever, I knew what I was going to be doing. I was going to be putting up fence, working with my daddy. So played a lot of sports, so that kind of cut out a little bit of the work, a little bit of it, but anyway, whatever was in the season, baseball, football, basketball, we was down at the rec center. Just grew up playing a lot of sports. Once I got into high school, that's really my first time really experiencing drugs, alcohol, whatever. I kind of dibbled and dabbled a little bit, smoking a little weed, and occasionally drinking some beer and stuff or whatever. And anyway, but I was kind of off and on though. I never, you know, if I was all about it, I was all in, and if I wasn't about it, I wouldn't have anything to do with it. I didn't really have no habit or anything back then, but that's really when I first started experiencing the drugs and alcohol or whatever. But then, so I got out of high school, I went to Georgia Southern. I don't even know how I got into school there, but I got in. They looked at that attendance record, I guess, and said, you know what, let's go ahead and let him on in there, I guess. My grades wasn't good at all. I was real good in math or whatever, wasn't too good in English, but so I had to take these developmental classes or whatever. But meanwhile, while I was there, that's really where, at the time, Georgia Southern was one of the top 3 party schools in the nation at the time. There was I think 5-to-1 girl-to-guy ratio at that time at that school, and man, I was all about the party. That's all I wanted to do. Was a party, and you know, my dad, he didn't want me to work for him and going to school. He wanted me to find a different job, so I had a couple jobs here and there. But anyway, as I got on through college, that's really when I learned how to start supporting my habit or whatever. And I got introduced to ecstasy and cocaine. At the time, that ecstasy, the government the FDA, you know, put it out on the market for about 30 days, and they snatched off the market. I think it was some kind of money gimmick thing or whatever. But that was around down there at that time. This is back in 1989, 1990 or whatever. And, you know, Statesboro kind of grew and started winning all these championships and stuff. And so, you know, the school just kind of grew, really kind of outgrew the town at one time. But anyway, I learned how to, I really, let's say I was trying to go for business, but really it was, I was learning how to, I say street culinary arts. I was learning how to work bread, cheese, and dough from scratch. I just knew how to manipulate these parents sending the kids down to Georgia Southern, and hell, heck, half the time I wasn't even in school. I was only in school for a little while, and then I was on academic probation. Then I got kicked out, but I still lived out there, and I still knew the people out there. And I worked at this little bar or whatever, and this was the little spot or whatever. And I wasn't but probably 19 or whatever. And at this time, I was working there, and I was working at a dry cleaners part time, and I still had everybody fooled. They didn't know I had flunked out and this and that. I kind of intercepted everything, and everybody thought I was, oh, Clay, he's still in school, he's doing good, blah blah blah, But I could always pull the wool over everybody. I was good at it. I was real good at it. But anyway, eventually all that catches up with you, and when you're lying to yourself, you're not just lying to everybody else, but when you're lying to yourself, it really comes back later on in life and bites you hard. But anyway, so I was at Georgia Southern, and I met my wife there at the time. I was married. I'm divorced now, but we were married 14 years. We got married in '95, and I went back to work with my dad, my dad's fence company, and I was running this fence company and stuff. And but I love that weed, though. That weed, man, I tell you what, it had a hold on me. I didn't have to say it had a hold on me, but I was kind of, I don't want to say I was ADHD or anything like that, but I felt like everybody got to have their coffee in the morning. I got to have that weed right there, and when I get to the job, it's gonna help me focus. Bam, I can go in there and I knock it out. But that's how it had me fooled and everything. And, but they say weed leads to everything else. But meanwhile, while I'm still kind of back and forth at Georgia Southern, going back to that, that's really when I got introduced to that cocaine. And that cocaine, everybody that I played sports with, played football with, a lot of guys, whatever. I was friends with a lot of dealers and stuff like that, and I don't know, everybody's kind of trusted me and everything, but I had a habit, and I kept it hid from everybody for a long time. I'd get enough just to, get rid of it a little bit, and nickel and dime here and there, just so I could support my habit, because I didn't want to blow my money on that, which I was blowing my money on that, and fooling myself as it was, But anyway, as I went along, I did meet my wife at the time, and we were married for 14 years. And anyway, in '99, I had my twin daughters was born or whatever. And man, that really changed my life right then, because man, you got twin girls. My brother had twins 10 years before that, and then I turned around and had twins. He had a boy and a girl, but when you got two girls, and you like, oh Lord, it changes your whole thought process right then, So everybody used to tell me, why are you so hard on your girls? Man? Why are you so rough? Man, I'm making sure they don't run into somebody like I was when I was 16 years old. Because man, I'm gonna tell you what, some of these, I know I can just pull the wool over a lot of girls' eyes and do whatever I wanted to do, And but when God gave me these girls, it changed my way of thinking a whole lot. But still, I had my addiction that I was still keeping hid and stuff. And what I do is, I smoke weed daily, whatever. But on about Thursday, that's usually about the time my weekend started. About Thursday, I get me about a fifth of Jack Daniels. When I did that cocaine, I had to have a drink with it. I couldn't do any work when I did that stuff. I don't know, my mind just didn't work like that, even though it sped you up. But it made me stupid. I mean, I really did. And then smoking that weed with it or whatever. But I was a lost soul. But anyway, when my daughters was born in '99, and I was still working with my daddy and everything, and running his company, and it changed me for a little while. And I got saved when I was 10 years old. Thought I got saved or whatever. I was at a little church called Temple Hill Baptist Church. It was in Middle Ground right there between Hope Delight and Statesboro. And anyway, didn't really even know what I was doing or whatever. We used to get to go on these little trips or whatever around Christmas. It was called the Youth Evangelism Conference or whatever. And really, I was just going for the girls or whatever. We could go up there and we get to stay in a hotel room with the church and up there in Macon, Georgia or whatever. And anyway, there'd be all these different churches there and stuff. And anyway, but that's when I got saved. I say when I was 10, but not really not really even knowing what it's about or whatever. But later on, there was times or whatever. I was in church. I went to church every Sunday. That's one thing my stepmother and my dad made me do every Sunday. Even if I didn't want to go, I went there Sunday school church, and every Sunday night or whatever, I was in church when I was growing up. But anyway, me and my wife or whatever, we had a good life or whatever. We had a place up in Portal, little small town up there, and it was we were blessed or whatever. And I was still fooling everybody, and had that demon in my back pocket, I could hide him whenever I got ready to hide him, and I could fool everybody. But anyway, to make a long story short, as that progressed or whatever, when the girls were born, I kind of rededicated my life, got back into church, started singing in the choir, started teaching, doing Awana for the kids and stuff. And the minute I left the church, man, I got to the house, I was a different person, right? I was doing what I do. But meanwhile, you ever notice that when you got a weed habit or whatever, and you ain't got no weed, you get kind of irritable, don't you? You just irritable, really kind of have like an anger attack almost. You snap on things. I mean, zero to 100 real quick, you know what I mean? And so anyway, and I had my moments or whatever, and I had my run-ins with my brother. Me and my brother, we were close when I was younger or whatever, and but our relationship really wasn't that tight. Everything that he did growing up, I wasn't gonna make the same mistakes. They made sure I wasn't allowed, but anyway, I just created new things, I guess you want to say. But anyway, my brother, I was real confrontational or whatever. My dad, nobody could, I was a little hothead as you want to say it. Had a temper like a wildcat, man. I was easygoing. I got along with everybody. Had all kind of friends, different backgrounds, every background you could imagine. And but at the same time, Clay didn't like who Clay was deep down inside. At the time, I thought I was full of myself. I was thinking, I'm all high and mighty and everything. Thinking I was better than everybody. But at the same time, I was hiding who I was really inside or whatever. I wasn't a bad person, like didn't make enemies or anything like that, or anything like that. But I tried to help people, but most of the time, if it wasn't helping me, it benefited me, then I wasn't gonna give you the time of day, But anyway, so as I left my dad in 2004, working for him. We had butted heads. Me and my stepmom, she finally, she seen right through it. She knew what I was all about. So I didn't. Anyway, my dad, he'd always tried to defend me, and bless his heart, he took a lot of grief over me or whatever, because I was there getting spoiled. I was a baby son or whatever. But anyway, we butted heads, and anyway, I walked off the job. We was doing a job down there in Statesboro, splashing the borough, and I walked right off the job, called one of my boys, and he come pick me up, and we went and got high. And anyway, from then on, I had girls were still young or whatever. My wife at the time, she taught elementary school at the elementary school in Portal or whatever, and so my girls was in a good spot as far as their mother being a teacher or whatever, and because they sure didn't inherit any book smart or anything from me, but my girls were real smart, and I kind of was overprotective of them a lot of times. There was even a couple little boys that was in their class or whatever. I was up around the school. I'd give a couple little boys a couple extra dollars just to make sure anybody picked on my girls or whatever, and make sure they get them, That's just the way I was, man. I wasn't gonna let nobody hurt them girls, man. The girls was my world. I love them girls. But still though, as a father though, you're real protective of them and everything, but there was so many times that I wasn't there for them when I should have been, especially here later on in life as I get through this story. But anyway, I was a good father though, other than that, and but I had my little drug habit, that I kept hid from everybody. But see, that cocaine, it costs some money now, and I sure didn't like coming out of my pocket for that stuff. So I had my little connections or whatever, guys that I played football with, different ones, and man, I got the hook up on it, and you know, I was known as the guy he could get it for you or whatever. He'd get it cheap for you and it'd be good. But at the same time, I'm just supporting my habit. But like I said, my weekend would start on Thursday, and I'd give me about a fifth of Jack Daniels and probably either 8-ball or a half 8-ball, wherever the money was going. If I didn't have nobody plays lined up or whatever, anyway, but then they had me a half ounce of weed, and that was started on Thursday. And I'd make it into work on that Friday. You know, and Friday was already kind of coasted or whatever, you know, through work and everything. After I left my dad, I had various jobs, but I couldn't hold the job down because I'd get out there on that cocaine, and man, you can't drink and do that cocaine and then go to work the next day. But I'm gonna tell you what, I can manipulate some stuff, man. I tell you what, I can pull a rabbit out of the hat, man. I'm gonna tell you every time, and I don't know how some of the things I did, I don't even know how I made it. There was times, man, I could probably write a book on excuses that I could come up with for not showing up for work, you know. And I'm like, man, I worked so hard when I was younger, but man, I don't feel like it today, you know, man. I've been up all night, head hurting, nose all raw, throat hurting, everything, you know, and I always had a cold, you know, but I come up with an excuse, you know, some way or another, you know, to get around everything. And it always manipulated. And then finally, when I lose a job or whatever, my family would ask me about it, or whatever, and I could come up with a good excuse, a good counter to that. And you know what, they kind of started catching on to it, you know, a little bit. You know, my dad told me one day, he said, "Boy, what you do with all your money?" I said, "Doggone, Dad, it costs a lot of money to do this and do that. And I got bills right here and this and that." You know, I can always come up with an excuse. And he said, "Man, you had some good jobs or whatever." And anyway, I wanted to go back to putting up fence, but you know, my stepmom wasn't having that. She could see right through me, you know. And one thing about it too, man, my dad didn't have any sense of smell. He was in a car wreck when he was a teenager or whatever. So this whole side of his jaw was wired up, but he has no sense of smell. So man, that was a benefit for me when I worked for him. I mean, I could smoke that weed, and man, that whatever, and be stinking or whatever, going there, and he couldn't never even smell it, you know. And man, I was like, all I had to do was make sure my eyes was cleared up, you know. So I kept some Visine on me or whatever. But that was another thing or whatever. But I had people fooled, man. I could fool some people now, but I really wasn't doing nothing but fooling myself the whole time. But anyway, ended up going through a divorce in 2009. And at the time, that was a hard thing right there for me, the divorce, which majority was my fault, I know. And it was a nasty divorce and everything. One thing, I remember the nights when I'd be up all night or whatever, and I always wanted to take them girls. I remember nights going in there and just laying in the bed, making sure nothing happened to them girls or whatever, just all paranoid and all geeked up and everything else, you know, just over paranoid, you know, and you know how that drug does you, whatever, especially that good cocaine back in the day. And I'm telling you what, it's powerful, and you know, it had me. But the thing is, I couldn't do that stuff without something to drink with it. And if I'm gonna do it, I had to have me some alcohol with it. But as far as work goes, there ain't gonna be no work when I do that cocaine now. That's over with. But anyway, I got where I controlled the habit. I was able to maintain on it. As far as, I could go, I wouldn't do nothing for a week or two, and then I'd get me a little bit, but like I said, I had access to it. I had so much access to it, and there was always somebody somewhere wanting it. Somebody willing to pay whatever they wanted to pay, and man, I could hit a quick lick and put some money in my pocket, and then have me a little bit, but usually a little bit ended up turning into a lot, and it ended up, how it always does, in the end. But anyway, went through that divorce, and didn't really know what I was doing at the time. This friend of mine, man, he was a big time drug dealer, man. He offered me a place to stay, let me stay, and I was a lost soul, I'll tell you. But when you go around Statesboro and you're rolling with them guys or whatever, and we could go in a bar or whatever, and when you walk in the bar, we felt like a celebrity or something. We walk in the bar, and they already got his CD on in the booth or whatever. When you come in, we had our own little place to sit. And it was really the little bit of the lifestyle or whatever. But I was single, and really a loss. So, but going back to my daughters though, right before I divorced, about 2000. I want to say about 2000. They were 10 years old. It was about 2009, 2008. They got saved. Both my daughters did, and praise the Lord, they both saved, and they both good girls and Christian girls. Both of them go to school now at the University of Georgia, and they made it. You know, I don't know how they made it. I sure didn't help out a whole lot. They got their own academic scholarships. I sure couldn't afford to send them up there, but anyway. They got saved and everything, and you know, at the times I was off and on, but when football season coming in, that was my party time. I love the party, man. I love the party, especially watching football. And every Sunday I'd go to church, and then I'd leave church, and by the time I got home or whatever, and after we ate and everything, bam, I'm gone. I'm going to watch football with the fellas or whatever, and. You know, there was always those other things to do when you're hanging around the fellas and everything. And so I wasn't really there for my daughters like I should have been. But I went in 2009 after I got my divorce. I hadn't traveled much. And Brother Tom Osborne, I don't know if y'all know him. He's over at the First Baptist Church in Meta. And at the time I had met him back at Friendship Baptist in Statesboro. And he had a real big impact on my life. He's an awesome man, but he prayed for me and everything, and I went all the way out to Salt Lake City, Utah, and got my CDLs, and got them in 2 weeks, and went in the truck driving schools, and never been in a big truck in my life, whatever, went out there, but they tell you every 2 weeks you can get back home, but that's a big lie right there. Once you get out there out west, and they want that money, you got to keep that truck rolling if you're going to make any money. And so anyway, I drove for him for about 2 months, and man, I said, man, I got to get back to the South, man. And I can't be away from the girls that long, you know, and there was stuff going on. And anyway, I parked the truck up there in Atlanta, Georgia, and I called Dougie's sister, Dougie McCullough right there. He used to date his sister, and I called her and I told her to come pick me up. She came out there and she picked me up and took me back. Meanwhile, I went ahead and changed those license over to Georgia license instead of Utah license. I made sure of that. You know, when you go to these truck driving schools, they want you to drive for them for a year, or you know, you got to pay this. Anyway, they try to take your license from you. So I already had everything planned out. You know, I always knew how to manipulate the system, manipulate people, and everything else. And anyway, so I was driving for a guy. Got a job with a guy named Kevin Ratcliffe in Statesboro or whatever, and I was hauling 3 loads of trash from the landfill all the way down to Scriven, Georgia, on the other side of Jessup. I'd make 3 trips a day, and I got introduced to that meth a little bit, and you know, that meth, man, I didn't have no control over that, man. I mean, shoot, man, you get a little bit of that, man, you might be up 2 days, man. I didn't like that right there. You know, I like to be able to maintain. I like to stay in between. I didn't want to get too high, but I didn't want to be too low, you know. So anyway, but I got introduced to that. But anyway, driving trucks or whatever. But they been driving for about 2 years, you know, and controlling my habit really, you know, staying under the radar or whatever. I had my cocaine habit still, and you know, I'd go all week without doing anything, but about Friday when I got paid, like I said, you know what time it was. That was that time. And, you know, I kept it hid from everybody. None of my family, nobody knew about it, really. You know, and even the women I was with, a lot of them didn't do drugs. They didn't know nothing about it either, but, you know, it was, I was able to do that. It's kind of crazy, but I was just able to manipulate, get whatever Clay needed, whatever Clay wanted, you know. And at the same time, really a selfish person. Really so selfish that, I mean, I really disgust myself now. I look back on how I was, you know, the little things in life that you neglect or whatever. The time with your children, the time with your family, you know, and certainly I'm gonna push everybody, my family back, you know. I mean, I don't want none of them to know what I'm into or what I'm doing, you know. But and you know, if I did see them, I'd be short and sweet, and I'd get on out there and go and do what I got to do. But anyway, so I'm working with this company for about 2 years, and they changed insurance companies on me. And I'm coming back from Jessup or whatever, and trying to get that second load. And Kevin calls me. He said, he goes, hey, you just won the lottery. You got a random drug test. You got need to take. Go by the assessments or whatever when you come back in from one of your trips. Well, I was already headed back toward the Jessup at the time. I made sure of that, and I made sure that when I came back, the assessments office was closed. So I found out a way to, always found a way to manipulate it around that, because that I could handle. If I had a little advanced time about the drug tests, you can always get around them. People still do it nowadays, But anyway, so I always had my way of passing those tests or whatever. But for this time, I changed up and I took the advice of one of my buddies or whatever. I say buddies, but one of my plugs or whatever. I took the advice that he had, and I took this stuff called niacin. And I said, I don't know, man. I've heard it works, but he took this niacin, and I got home, and he also bought this bottle of stuff called Test Clean or whatever. You buy these little Indian stores or whatever. Well, anyway, I bought that stuff, and I read what the bottle said, but I had to take that niacin the night before or whatever. Man, that stuff turned me red. I'm itching, man. I'm about to come out of my clothes. I come home and I won't never forget everybody looking at me like, what in the world's wrong with you, man? What you done got into, man? I'm red as a firecracker, itching and everything. And anyway, next morning I go down to Jessup and I take the stuff like the bottle said, but you're supposed to do exactly what the bottle says. And anyway, somehow I didn't do it exactly right, but I think I had to pee too bad, and I peed one too many times before I gave them the urine sample. And anyway, so I'm thinking I done got by on that. About a week goes by, and it's around Thanksgiving, and I get a call. I'm sitting out there in the chair. I'm living up there in Portal, and got this call, and it's this doctor on there. It's a 1-800 number. I said, hey, who in the world is this? He said, Pennsylvania. He said, Donald Morris, Donald Clay Morris. And I said, yeah. He said, this is Dr. So-and-so. I got your results back on your urinary test, and you're kind of borderline, but you tested positive for marijuana. I said, what? Tested positive for marijuana? I ain't smoked no marijuana. I was around some people, that smoked it, but I ain't smoked no marijuana. What you talking about? Well, Mr. Morris, we'll let you for I think it's $25, $50. We'll go ahead and send $25, $50. I forget how much it was. We'll test this other sample that you got right there, and we made a mistake or whatever. And I'm like, oh Lord. So there wasn't no way of getting around that. But meanwhile, my dad, he plays golf with Kevin, and so Kevin, he fired me or whatever. But the whole time, my dad, he finds out, that I failed the drug test and everything. He don't want to really approach me or whatever, because he knows I'm gonna go off on him and everything. And anyway, so my brother calls me up, and I'm putting him to the side. I ain't failed. They say you failed a drug test for marijuana. What? Man, I didn't fail no drug test. I don't know what he's talking about. Who told you that? Well, that's what Dad said, but it's all supposed to be confidential anyway, But my dad always had a way of finding out things too. But anyway, so me and my brother, we got into a little argument and confrontational, and man, I laid into him, and I laid into his wife too. I told him, I won't never forget that. The Christmas holidays wasn't the same after that, and Thanksgiving wasn't either. None of it was. But I said some ugly things to her and to him, and disrespected him, and of course my sister-in-law now, she holds it down too. Now she put some hurtful words right there in my ear too, and I knew I was wrong. I knew I was wrong, but I sure wasn't gonna let nobody know I was wrong, And so anyway, as time goes along, I got a job with another job, and I was working out of town. I was working with Edward Moats, whatever. And at the time, my main guy with the cocaine, he got in some trouble. Got into conspiracy charge, doing some Fed time. And anyway, I was on the road, and I'd be out 2 weeks at a time. And I would stay in the hotel, and I forget we was working up in Warner Robins, Georgia, up there, setting up some monster buildings or whatever. I was at the same time I got my welding certification, and I was a certified welder, and I got paid 3 different pay scales. I was a welder, truck driver, I was having CDLs, and just general labor, whatever. So, but old El Ramos, he looked out for me or whatever. And but I was working out of town, and right across the road from the Hooters up there in Warner Robins, Georgia. And at the time, I heard about that old crazy white boy stuff, that old methamphetamine. Boy, I looked out and said, man, I don't know how y'all do that stuff, man. Daggum, teeth falling out, you're running around here, you're skinny, you're looking, and at the time, a friend of mine that I grew up with, and his family knows my family and everything. Man, that's a working fool, man. That joker was working. I'm talking about, man, I ain't never seen nobody work like that boy in my life. And I said, man, how in the world I can't keep up with him? So I go down his room one night, and he's getting ready to go across the road to the bar over there, and pulled out a big old sack of that meth. And I tried it. Boy, when I tried it, I dabbled with it a little bit here and there, but this time I tried it. You know what I mean? I tried it. Man, I walked around that hotel and talked on the phone for about 5 hours, I think, before I knew it or whatever. And I just running around there making a fool out of myself. But anyway, I got where I could do that stuff, and you know what? Man, I like this, that cocaine. When I do that cocaine, man, I ain't wanting to work. I ain't wanting to do a dang thing, But I can do this stuff, and maintain on it. And, man, I'm working. This stuff, man, make me work, man. I got this, So anyway, boy, was I stupid. But anyway, so as time went along, I went and I got a job with the city of Statesboro. I needed something with some benefits, and so I got a job in the city of Statesboro, and I was working with them, and I was driving one of those little small dump trucks, but I had a cherry picker on the back of it or whatever. Had my benefits and everything. Had good benefits, insurance, paid sick days. What? Paid sick days. And I'm like, paid sick days? You mean if I don't go to work and I'm still gonna get paid? And if you don't use them, you lose them. And I'm like, man, I ain't never even heard of none of this, man. My daddy ain't never paid me for not coming to work. But anyway, so as time went along, I worked for them about 2 years, and I was maintaining pretty good. But gradually, when you're doing that stuff, you lose track of time. The hours and the days, they just run in together. What seems like two weeks end up being 2 months, and what seems like 2 months ends up being 2 years. I mean, this time just flies like that, And but it was catching up with me, It was catching up with me. And I was at times I'd wake up late and be rushing to work or whatever, And you work around these people every day. I had this black guy. He was my supervisor. His name was Billy Dog. And he was a good fella. He was a hard. You couldn't pull no wool over him or whatever. But he knew what was going on. Marsh, what you doing now, man? You coming in here looking crazy and one thing about it, you working though. You working, but boy, I don't know what you're doing tonight, man. But you looking crazy, And I'm like, yeah, well, Billy Dog, I'm here. I'm working, Well, anyway, as time went along, I could feel they threw a drug test on me, and I don't know how in the world I drank enough water that day or something. I don't even know, but they threw a random drug test on me, and I passed it with flying colors. And I don't even know how I passed it. It don't even make sense how I passed it, but I passed it. So that kind of got them off my shoulders for a little bit. But meanwhile, my dad and brother and all them, we ain't all that tight, My mama, I call her from time to time, My mama, I'm the baby son, so you know what? Mama's always gonna listen, Mama's always gonna have that encouraging word, and kind of like, well, why are they picking on you? Kind of like that, because I had mama fooled too. Now, boy, I had mama fooled. I knew I had mama real fooled. But anyway, so as time went along, though, it was kind of catching up with me, and so I said they had a freeze on the pay scale there at the time, and so I had to go get me a job. I wanted a trucking job, I wanted a job where I could make that good money, So I had a friend of mine. He called me up, and this guy had a land plaster, what you take out to these farmers or whatever, and they put it over these peanuts and stuff, and all these farmers had to have it or whatever, and anyway, so I'd work. I ended up leaving the city of Statesboro. I had a good job, just worked there for 2 years, but decided, it's time for me to move on. So I moved on, Didn't get fired, that was another good thing, Well, Daddy can't say I got fired at that job, and he can't say, the last job before that, he can't say that either, And I still ain't failed no drug test, They ain't gonna let them, still ain't gonna give up on that, I'm gonna say I didn't fail it all the way to the end, And anyway, so, but the guy I go to work with is one of the biggest cons, and probably one of the biggest cons that I've ever been around, probably one of the biggest cons in the state of Georgia. The guy was just a big shyster, man. He had this mill. We worked for Senator Burns over there, and had to set up over there in Springfield over there for Senator John Burns and the son over there. And basically I would haul whatever I needed to haul to these farmers, this and that, and it was kind of seasonal work at the time. But then again, as time went along, this guy was kind of not paying the other guys like he's supposed to. And one thing about it, man, I'm about that money. You don't play with my money, And one of my friends that got me hired on there, he quit. Went to cash a check, and the check bounced and everything. And just one thing after the other. Next thing I know, I'm the only one still working for this guy. I said, man, this is kind of funny, I'm the only guy still working for this guy. So I made it a point. I went up to this guy and I told him, I said, man, I don't know what you got going on, Ronnie, but you better make sure you don't mess up my money. You don't mess up my money. Don't play with my money. And so he started paying me cash. Paid me cash. He never, I don't know what it was, but he never shafted me out of my money or anything like that. The guy was a bad alcoholic or whatever. But one day I'm still doing that, dabbling on that meth. But I'm doing it, and I'm kind of nickel and dime a little bit. I get me enough because there was always somebody wanting a little bit, but never really get anything big or anything like that. I was just maintaining my habit or whatever. And I didn't drink anymore. I didn't hardly even drink no more at all. I might drink a little bit, but that alcohol wasn't for me. It was that about that working drug. Boy, I was ready to work. And anyway, so I go to Deal Farms one morning. Met him over there. He had this Nissan Titan. Nice 4-wheel drive Nissan Titan. I mean, beautiful truck. He didn't let me drive it home a couple times on the weekends or whatever and have it all weekend. But I met him over there with my car or whatever at Deal Farms. I wasn't far from my daddy's house. And I picked up a spreader or whatever. And he wanted me to take his truck, pull that spreader over there to Springfield that early that morning, and then come on back to his house over there in Stilson. Anyway, so I went over there and I pulled it over there to Springfield, dropped it off. I'm coming back, and there's a little road called Mud Road. It's kind of between Effingham and Bryan County's way on the other end of Bullitt County. Well, it's a little old road or whatever. Well, I'm riding along, man, and I'm dozing off, and pulled back on the road. There ain't no vehicles out there on the road at this time of the morning. It was probably about 7 to 8 in the morning. And man, I swerved off a little bit, and I snatched back on the road and tried to wake up. And didn't have anything on me, to wake me back up or whatever at the time, because it was in my car, because I was in his truck. Well, I dozed off, and right about the time I woke up, here comes a van coming at me head on, and I snatched it back, and just as I snatched it back, the van hit the front fender of the truck, and the truck spun all out. There's glass all in my arm. I go out into this field, and I done totaled this guy's truck up. I'm talking about messed it up, but somehow I didn't flip, and I just landed in that field and kind of bounced or whatever. And but I look back, and that van's sitting upside down or whatever. And I'm like, oh Lord, how am I gonna get out of this? And I'm pegging, I go check on the person, and it was the guy wasn't hurt, but the guy was a diabetic or whatever, and he was having a seizure at the time. And I'm way out there in Mud Road. I called the ambulance. Anyway, the next thing you know, the state patrol shows up. And once again, good as I am now, I'm manipulating my way out of that too. I don't even know how in the world. But, it's his word against my man. I didn't cross over that line. He crossed over the line. I still to this day, and I'm like, man, sometimes I look back on some of the things that I did and got away with it. I don't even know how I got away with them, And I was pretty much a bad person, I really was. But anyway, so the state patrol reenacted the accident. He looked at it. He couldn't see the skid marks the way they were. there'd been probably a wreck or two out there on that road, and I think there was one kind of close in that area. There was some skid marks out there, so it's an old country road or whatever, so people go out there all the time and burn their tires down or whatever, but they couldn't really put two and two together. But meanwhile, I done totaled out this guy's car. I mean, this truck, this nice truck, man, I'm talking about. So he never gave me no alcohol, blood test or nothing like that, because I was always able to present myself in a way that had a way with people. I could present myself in a way that I could be convincing that, oh, this guy, he's not some guy. He's not on drugs. He's not he's not one of them. I mean, I always had a way with my words and everything, and that was, I don't even understand that either. But I was a bad person, and anyway, I got away with that. It was his word against my word. But the truck wasn't in Ronnie's name. It was in his so-called wife at the time. This woman, she come from a lot of money. He was trying to rob everything she's got anyway, steal everything from her blind. And so me and him, he gets a loaner truck from the Franklin Chevrolet, a new Silverado, but he ain't got nobody else to work for him but me. So my car tears up later on that week, on that Friday. Ronnie gives me that loaner from Franklin Chevrolet to drive for the weekend. So I'm back in the new truck right there, riding around the Silverado, just going wherever I want to go, doing whatever I want to do, just taking care of Clay, and just keeping on boogieing, and thinking I pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. But the whole time I'm really fooling myself. Well, anyway, as time goes along, the insurance or whatever. Anyway, Ronnie has it out with his wife, and they own me. And anyway, I ended up leaving Ronnie, and I got a job. I quit him or whatever. We were out of season, and he called me a couple times to pull a few things, but I do little jobs here and there. But I started. That's when I really started kind of making a so-called. My job then was maintaining my habit with that methamphetamine, and I would people had a need, and I would supply it, And the thing about how you fool yourself though is you think you convicted or whatever. You feel, I know I'm not doing right. I know I'm not doing right, but if you do something that makes you think you're doing something good, like I don't know if y'all know, but people on crack and stuff. I got a lot of people off crack but with methamphetamine. So I thought I was really doing something good, Oh man, these people, man, they spending $400 a week, and now they ain't spending but $40, They ain't doing, and I really thought I was doing something, and that's how that your thinking, is just all screwed up, and I was all about myself, just so selfish. But anyway, I got a job later on. I hid out in Pooler I got hot or whatever. When you're selling this methamphetamine, you got you create a lot of haters, even though the people are, you just create it's a devil's game or whatever, really. And anyway, I was addicted to the lifestyle too at the same time. But I got a good trucking job. While I was down there in Pooler, I found this lady. She had and I'd make a dropping hook. I'd drive 4 to 6 hours away. She put me in a brand new International Pro Star with the Cummins twin turbo in it. And man, I'm pulling these containers up through the mountains. I'm talking about, man, this is high as a kite too, man. I'm talking about flying, boy. I had 3 log books in the truck. You know what? I'm making this money, and you know what? I ain't even slowing down. Got me a place up there in Portal, another place up there in Portal now. Got me another girl there at the house now, a little young girl this time, and I'm thinking I'm all high and mighty. Here I am, 40-something years old, and man, I'm making a fool out of myself, really though. And but one of my daughters came to live with me, and anyway, it was really chaos or whatever. But I worked for about 6 months, and I was up in Catoosa County. That's up there in Ringo, Georgia. That's up there near before you going out of Georgia before you get into Chattanooga. I had to go in this truck stop or whatever. Not truck stop, but weigh station or whatever. And a deputy dog was in there, man. I had a big dog that rode with me in my truck too. He was like my son. His name was Camo, and he really wasn't nothing but a big figurehead. But when I was riding around selling my meth or whatever and doing all that, I didn't ever really worry about the drug dog coming in on me, or I really, the cops, they would have to call animal control. This dog was about 160 pounds. And, he wasn't nothing but a big old baby or whatever, and the females really loved him too, but I had him with me or whatever. And anyway, I got caught up there with 3 logbooks, and so they put me out of service for 30 days. I had to sit up there for about 10 hours up there with my dog up there, and anyway, the company, they took the truck back. So here I am, I got all these bills and everything, and I said, man, that's when I talked to another so-called friend, and he said, yeah, you ought to start moving a little bit more weight. And I said, oh, okay. I mean, if I can I just got to make some money, pay these bills or whatever, and I'm going to go back in the truck in about 30 days. But, well, about 30 days went by, and I seen how much money I could put in my pocket, and I said, man, what in the world do I want to go back to work for? Man, I got so much money now in my pocket. I got twice and 3 times as much money as I was stacking up. And you know what? I'm gonna be my own boss. I ain't got to do all that, But meanwhile, my family, they kind of keen on everything. They know what's going on, and they call me up and, oh, you still driving trucks? Oh yeah, I'm still driving trucks. I thought I had them fooled. They knew the whole time or whatever. But anyways, time goes by. And I start moving that weight. Like I said, when 2 weeks turns into, you blink your eyes and 2 weeks is there, and you think it's 2 weeks and it's been 2 months. You think 2 months and next thing you know it's been 2 years. And the time is just rolling by. I done pushed every bit of my family to the side. I don't, even my mom, I couldn't even face my mom. I didn't even, hadn't even been down there to see her in over 2 years or whatever, when I finally got caught up or whatever. But anyway, in May of 2017, my dog ended up dead somehow. The animal control brought him up there. He said that he got into some livestock. I don't really know what happened to him, but it kind of bothered me or whatever, because I felt there was something kind of fishy behind that or whatever. But meanwhile, my family and all them, they praying for my downfall. They at the same time, I'm toting a pistol in my pocket everywhere I go. I'm making sure ain't nobody gonna rob me. And, I was the type, man, I'm going to shoot first, ask questions later. If you pull it on me, I'm going to pull it on you. But we never really got like that. But you know what? It's better to have it than not have it, And especially, I've heard about people getting robbed and this and that. And, I'll be doggone, they're going to rob me or whatever. But anyway, and I was just really a bad person, man. There was a lot of snitches out there and things like that. And I was the type, man, I'd say, you know what, man, that's pretty low down for somebody to go out there and tell on somebody and put me in jail, send me to prison, take me away from my kids, which I wasn't even there for my kids anyway, but like I should have been. But I'm like, you know what? That's a pretty low down person, a snitch, man. What's a snitch? A rat? That's the low, man. That's just. Somebody like that, man, I was like, that's the way I was. And I was like, you know what? I justify my mind that, you know what? Somebody tells on me, I'll shoot them in the face, man, just for a closed casket, just to make sure that you know what? Because they ain't just taking away from me, they taking away from the generations behind me. That's the way I looked at it, That's how screwed up I was in my mind, Yeah, boy, was I screwed up. And I'm thankful to this day that, the Lord had to have some kind of watch over me or something, because there was some times I had some close calls or whatever. But anyway, in that May, my dog got killed in August the 10th or whatever. And I try to help a lot of people. I know guys that be locked up, and the kids the kids getting ready for school or whatever. And at the time, man, I grew. I started getting into these people would bring me all kind of whatnots. I had every tool that you could imagine. I ended up having about 2 storage units full of tools. People pawned me vehicles, which all of them was really a piece of crap, But anyway, I thought I was something, man. I had about 6 vehicles. I had tools and storage bins. People bring me electronics, and these little dumpster divers, they bringing me all kind of stuff, and and I'm just all about it, man. I'm thinking I'm all high and mighty, and man, was I fooling myself big time. But anyway, so I had all this going on, and I was still toting the pistol or whatever, Still toting. This time I was kind of collecting guns a little bit, but something told me, what, these guns gonna get you some fed time, man. These guns, that's any kind of gun charge. That's a violent charge right there. You're gonna do some time right there off that. And I knew the walls was closing in on me. I knew they were. I knew exactly what was going on, and I knew my brother and my dad. They got friends on the sheriff's department, and one of the guys that graduated with my brother, he was the head drug guy or whatever. And well, they called my brother and they said they tried to pinpoint me, and they couldn't pinpoint me because man, I was in with these Indians too, so I had them. I'd stay in a hotel. I stay in a hotel for 2 weeks, and then I dip to another hotel, you know. And these Indians, they love me, man, because I was paying them up front or whatever, and they let me stay there. And really, I was just trapping out the hotel or whatever, and just being stupid or whatever. And man, I had so many win and reward points at this one hotel or whatever. When I did get locked up, the girl I was with, she stayed there for about a month for free or whatever. That's how stupid I was, but anyway. And there was a little dumpy hotel outside of Statesboro, between Scriven and Statesboro. And if I got hot in Bullitt County, I'd go out there and stay for a little while or whatever. I had a little drive-through service set up out there, and I thought I had it going on, man. I was fooling myself big time. But anyway, I was helping this guy. Guy was locked up and he wanted some stuff moved out of his house, and I was going to put it in a storage unit for him. And this guy, the friend of a friend, needed some work or whatever, so he was riding with me or whatever. And anyway, I got pulled over in the middle of the day. Between May and August, when I finally got caught up with, I got probably stopped and searched probably 4 or 5 times or whatever. They couldn't ever find nothing. And, I just laughed at them and everything, and I was like, yeah, y'all were wasting the taxpayers' money because you ain't messing with nothing right here. I ain't about nothing, And just all high and mighty, arrogant, really arrogant, pissed a lot of them off. I tell you what, made a lot of them mad. So anyway, that put a mark on me at one time. But even the sheriff now in Bullitt County, he's a good friend of mine, Noel Brown, and I'd avoid him too. But he knew he'd look and he'd see me, he'd just shake his head. He wouldn't ever say nothing to me, but I knew it was coming. But anyway, so the guy, they pulled me over for a tag light in the middle of the day, and they thought I had a bunch of drugs on me. I didn't. I dipped it off or whatever somewhere, and where I didn't have it on me, but I had that pistol on me. And the guy with me proceeded to throw a half ounce of marijuana up under my seat. And so they took both of us to jail for a misdemeanor possession of marijuana. And I'm like, man, I told the boy, I said, boy, you better claim that stuff. That ain't mine now. And I was really about to hurt the boy, and do something stupid. But I got caught with the pistol. The pistol was clean, though. I don't know how in the world, but it was clean. So I didn't get no gun charge or nothing. All I got was a misdemeanor possession, and the guy bonded out 5 hours before I did. He went back and stole the rest of the guy's stuff. But anyway, they went through all my stuff, and they couldn't find nothing, so I really made them mad. About 2 weeks later, on a Friday night, now see, I knew when to move. That was another thing. I always knew when to move. I could go, whenever Statesboro has something going on, especially with the college, with the football, they got every lawman out there in that area right there, so that's the best time to go make your round or whatever. If you got to go somewhere and drop something off and take something somewhere, make a little trip, that's the best time right there. But so it was on a Friday night, Statesboro High's first home football game, and I'm on the way back. I'm coming into Statesboro, and I'm coming up through Hope You Like It right there. And anyway, I made a little stop or whatever, and I stopped at somebody's house, and they told me, said, why don't you just stay for a little while? I'm like, no, I'm ready to get home or whatever. And so I come on up the road, and I just got this Blazer. This lady pawned a Blazer to me. It was a 4-door. It was clean. I was getting ready to pimp it out, man. I thought I was something. I put new tires, new rims on it, and it had the Vortec V6 in it. Didn't have a dent on it or whatever. The inside was kind of messed up, but I already had a plan on that. But so I had the drugs down in the dash of the vehicle, whatever, way down there, dipped off. I usually had me a little magnet or whatever I had. I had all kind of little plans. I always had stuff planned out or whatever, thinking ahead, but I knew the walls was closing in on me. I knew they were. So I get back out on the highway, and State Patrol gets behind me, and he follows me, man, all the way in Statesboro. And as I'm looking back, though, I see these Silverado with the lights in it. I see the F-150. And there was the task force has all these vehicles and stuff. And man, I got in Statesboro right there in front of EMC, man, they had the road blocked off right there. And I said, man, they got me. And they asked me, they come in there and they search the vehicle. And thing about it though, I had made them pissed them off so bad, excuse my language, I made them so mad, previously or whatever that, man, they really had it out for me. So they held me out there in the street for about 2 hours in handcuffs. And I had a lawyer friend at the same time, a guy that I went to school with, and he was my lawyer. And he would always, I had free litigation from him. He told me for the rest of my life or whatever. That was a joke, but he told me that. But so meanwhile, I had that marijuana charge previously, whatever, 2 weeks before that. And the court date came up, so I didn't. I just been arrested, and next week they had court, and I didn't even know about it. I had a bench warrant out on this. I called him up and I said, "Hey, can you take care of that right there for me?" And he took care of it, whatever. But so I was out on bond for that, whatever. He, took care of it for me, whatever. So when I get this charge, whatever, I originally get charged with trafficking and possession. I had scales on me, possession of a drug object. All the things you ain't supposed to have. And anyway, they give me all these sobriety tests and all this stuff. And at the time, I'd gotten where on this stuff, this meth, I maintained on it so good that I ate every night. I went to sleep every night. I went to bed every night. Once you get used to something or whatever, and your body adjusts to it, I guess, And I was able to maintain on it. And basically, that was my job, was moving these drugs and stuff, Well, anyway, so I'm locked up. They held me out in the street for 2 hours, and I didn't even know it at the time. But this is my daughters, both my daughters' senior year. One of them had, they both went to Portal, but one of them decided she wanted to go to Statesboro that year or whatever. So, but they're leaving Statesboro out football game, and I don't see them, but they see me, and they see me in the handcuffs, in handcuffs in the middle of the street that night. And I will never forget that when they told me that on the phone while I was in the county jail. I don't know if you know Bobby Dahl. Bobby Dahl, I don't see him here tonight, but me and Bobby Dahl, we was locked up together on L Block. But I spent about 4.5 months back on L Block, but I couldn't get no bond because I was already out on bond for the misdemeanor, So they had me in there. Well, I called my lawyer. He got they gave me, I pled no load to the misdemeanor marijuana, and they gave me time served 60 days. And so anyway, I'm thinking, well, they got to give me a bond after 90 days. I mean, there ain't no way around it, if they don't indict me, they got to give me a bond. And I got indicted on my 89th day is when they indicted me. Special call them to the grand jury. And I'm like, man, they got it out for me. I don't understand this, Meanwhile, my friend Noel Brown come back there and talked to me a couple times. And he said, you screwed up, and, it's going to be rough or whatever. I'm going to try to see what I can do to help you out with, I don't know, but it's really kind of out of my hands now, And I'm thinking, man, and meanwhile, this is my twin daughter's senior year, man. And I always talk about, if one of them made the homecoming court, being able to escort them out on the field. And anyway, one of them made the homecoming court. And, I couldn't even, I was locked up and I couldn't even escort her out on the field. The guy that was with my ex-wife, he got the escorter out there. Boy, that burned me up, man. Boy, that was a low point right there. So how everybody gets that jailhouse religion or whatever, and you locked up, man. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I won't never do it again. All that. But the minute you get back out there on the streets, boy, you go right back to that same person you used to be. And that was kind of like the way I did, or whatever. But I was, I knew I was doing wrong, and I hadn't been in no trouble since I got in trouble one time when I was in college or whatever. I let a guy borrow my car that I lived with, and he stole a bunch of furniture or whatever. He used my car, and we both got a theft by receiving. I used my first offenders up back then, so anyway, that was back in the 90s or whatever. Here I am, I'm 45 years old or whatever. So I'm sitting in the county, I sit there for my lawyer. Meanwhile, my lawyer, he took care of my misdemeanor, but said he was going to help me out give me a bond and all that. But I sat back there, and I don't know what they did to scare him or what they did, but I found out that I didn't even have no representation. My brother tried to go over there and contact him and everything. He wouldn't have nothing to do with him. And he was really running from us, And I'm like, man, what in the world? So the whole time I'm sitting back there, and I ain't even got no lawyer, no nothing. I'm sitting there, and I got a public pretender, as you want to call it, and a public defender. But anyway, so anyway, somehow I got a bond 3 days before Christmas, and they let me out. Man, boy, I kissed the ground when I come out, and I said, man, I ain't never going back. My daddy picked me up or whatever. We got bonded out, and you know, if I'd have knew what I knew now, I probably would have stayed in there or whatever. But I say that, but really, that's not what happened, because what happened to me was really a blessing in disguise. But so I've been talking to people, and they said, you know what, you need to get in some kind of recovery program. You know, I said, I ain't no drug addict, man. I mean, if you call selling drugs, you know, they got a rehab for drug dealers. That's the way I look at it. But as I talked to him, and he said, you know what? When you go before the judge, though, it's gonna look good. You know, and maybe he'll be a little lenient on you. I said, okay. So I checked out this place called the Hell House up in Augusta. Talked to Dad about it, whatever. And you had to pay to go up there. Well, anyway, when I got out, I went straight back to this old girl that I was selling drugs with and all this stuff. And you know, I did her wrong, this and that. You know, don't know why, but I really didn't have nowhere else to go, because I pretty much turned my back on all my family and everything. You know, and they didn't. You know, I was a bad person. You know, they didn't really want to have me around. You know, really. I mean, they loved me and everything, but you know, my character was just pitiful. I mean, really. And anyway, so I go and see my mom. My brother takes me up there on Christmas Eve. I've been out, I got out on a Thursday. That Saturday was Christmas Eve. And me and my brother drove to Brunswick down there to see my mama. Man, I hadn't seen my mama in 2 years. That's how long I put that. And me and my mama used to be like that. And man, boy, I said, man, look what I've done to myself. I mean, like I said, the 2 days turned to 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turned to 2 years, just like that. And you know, I pushed everybody in my family, everybody to the back burner or whatever, because I was ashamed of who I was. But I mean, I wasn't gonna let nobody know I was ashamed of who I was. You know, I'm gonna hold my head high anyway, you know. But I didn't want nobody to know what I was doing. But I know I wasn't doing wrong. And my brother, man, he witnessed to me. Me and my brother, we kind of connected back, and we had to talk and stuff like that. And like we really, you know, my brother started to understand me, and I started to understand him. And I know my brother, man, he's a good man. I tell you what, when we was younger, I wasn't supposed to do what everything he did back then, and he got in trouble for. But and I'm gonna tell you what, he's actually a role model to me. He inspires me. He inspires me. I mean, he's got a great wife, got great kids, good godly man. He does it all. But we rode down there, we seen my mom and everything, and they had that Christmas Eve dinner down there. I come back, and so New Year's Eve is right around the corner. Georgia's getting ready to play, I think it was Oklahoma, and then they was going on to play Alabama, you know, in the national championship. This is all during this time frame in 2018. I'm a big football fan, you know, and a fanatic, really. But I'm on New Year's Eve, and man, this boy comes up to me, and I ain't done no drugs, you know, I ain't even went out and, you know, look for no meth or anywhere else, trying to stay away from it, but trying to stay away from it, you know. Man, this boy comes up to me and he hands me a whole handful of shards right there and says, Happy New Year. And I looked at him and I said, man. And I thought about it. Man, I was all in on it again, boy. I got zooted up, man. Next thing I know, my brother calls me up and he says, I got a place up there in Garfield up there I want you to check out. It's called New Beginnings in Christ. And I said, man, I'll go check it out, man. I'll go check it out, but I'm going to the Hell House. You know, Christian-based thing, you know, and I ain't going up there, and, you know, but I'll go up there and check it out for you, John. Shoot, you know. And I'm back on that myth, you know. And, so anyway, time goes along, and the next thing I know, it's the night of the Georgia-Alabama game, and boy, I've been out there running the roads for about 2 weeks now. I even worked with him a couple of days or whatever, and you know, he picked me up or whatever, and I worked, you know. Like I said, I work on them drugs, maintain on it. Nobody even know, you know. I wish I thought. But anyway, he calls and says, you know, Dad's gonna take you up there in the morning, up there for the interview up there at New Beginnings in Christ. And I said, what? That's tomorrow? All right, you know. So anyway, my dad comes the next morning, picks me up. We come up here to Garfield up here. And man, I'm gonna tell you what. So I go in this room back here and I sit down with Pastor Mike. I got Mr. Donald sitting across from me right there looking at me, and Eric Burns was at the time was the counselor here, and I'm sitting there, telling my story about my history, about the meth and all this, and Mr. Donald looks over there, and you can't pull the wool over Mr. Donald. I'm gonna tell you that. I don't know if y'all know. Some of y'all probably already know that, but if y'all don't know, y'all gonna find out. But anyway, Mr. Donald looked over there and he said, "Boy, you high as a kite right now." I looked at him. My daddy's sitting right there with me, so I'm like, "I ain't high right now. What you talking about? Oh, you wouldn't mind taking one of these drug tests, then, would you?" And I said, "Give me here. I'll take it." And anyway, Mr. Donald could read right through me, whatever. So I walked back there to the back with Eric Burns, and Eric, I'm getting ready to go. I said, "Eric, I'm probably gonna fail this drug test. I smoked some marijuana, a couple weeks ago, and I'm trying to manipulate my way out of it somehow, And anyway, I told him, I said, plus, I used over the weekend or whatever, I'm just making up excuses or whatever. Well, I ended up, I took the test and I come back in here and sit down with him, and boy, I blew the thing off the charts, man. I tested positive for methamphetamine, amphetamine, MMDA, daggum weed. I blew it off the chart, and Eric said, he did say before he took his test, that he was going to probably fail it or whatever, and we're going to give you a test to go home with, and come back Friday, and you try to clean your system out and see if you can, get in. We'll let you back in then, And I'm like, "Hey, this is drug rehab. How you gotta be sober to get in? I mean, what's up with that?" And I'm thinking, meanwhile, man, my daddy, I'm sitting there and I'm so humiliated, My dad, I can't even look at my daddy. My daddy don't think he said that to me the rest of the way home, but I mean, I've been able to pull the wool over people's eyes for the longest, man. I'm talking about, I've always been able to do it, but man, Mr. Donald, man, I will never forget that day. I looked across that table and he said, "Boy, you high right now," and I will never forget that. But anyway, so I didn't do any drugs or anything like that, and I come back Friday. My dad shows up at 8 o'clock on that Friday morning. I'm like, "Doggone, Daddy, you could have waited at least till after lunch or something, Anyway, so I take the little test that they gave on this, and it's dirty, and he said, "Well, we just go up there anyway." So we went up here, and I said, "Yeah, we just wasted time, Anyway, this ain't gonna work, and anyway, Eric told us to come back Sunday, and if I failed in, if I can't be cleaned in, then they'll find out something about some detox, and maybe somewhere else I can go or whatever. But the next few days I drank water or whatever, and this time my brother, I done humiliated myself and made a fool out of myself. My daddy, I can't even look my daddy in the eye no more, what kind of person am I, what kind of son? I'm a junkie, I'm supposed to be a drug dealer, but I'm a junkie, Look, I can't even pass no drug test. This is the way I look. I kind of got down on myself a little bit, but that's the thing about this place up here, man. But I come back that Sunday, and my brother brought me. I passed everything. So on January 16th, 2018, I got admitted into this place. And but the thing about this place, to be able to receive God, you got to be. God's sometimes he's gonna take some of y'all and he's gonna break y'all down. I mean, sometimes you got to be so daggum knocked down off your high horse, so low. I mean, so low a mosquito wouldn't even bite you. You know what I mean? But that's how God takes people, though, and He transforms us into godly men, and but you got to be able to open your heart up and receive Him, and so anyway, I got up here and I'm hearing all these guys give these testimonies and different things or whatever. Pastor Tom, I see him come in here, and meanwhile I'm working, and I'm eating and everything. All the guys, everything's fine and everything. But then I get a call, about my daughters. My daughters, things ain't going good over there with their mother and the guy she's living with. And so, oh man, I'm just, I can't leave. I can't go nowhere. Man, I gotta take care of this, blah, blah, blah. Well, there was a guy here named Boots, John something, I don't know, but he had a little ministry called Boots on the Ground. Boots on the Ground. But so I went over there, this guy brought me over there to Boots, and man, Boots prayed over me, did that spiritual warfare, and anointed me with oil, and for the first time, I felt the Holy Spirit just come over me. Something, just a calmness came over me. I can't even describe it, you know. It was a feeling of, you know, everything's going to work out. Everything's going to work out. God's in control. There ain't nothing you can do about it. I'm here. You know, there's no sense of worrying about it. But if you just pray about it. So I started getting in the Word. I got, you know, I started receiving the Lord. And I rededicated my life to Christ while I was up here. And but I still, what I lacked was getting into the Word. I've always been a slow reader, this and that, and I've read the Bible a couple times, but as far as understanding the Bible, that was something that, you know, I could never really put it all together, you know, and didn't really understand it. Well, anyway, meanwhile, you know, I'm up here, and every time I see Mr. Donald, boy, I'm making sure I'm working. I ain't gonna let him down. Man, he called me out on all that, and, you know, I know he can see right through me. And so I worked down there with the pecans, and I worked on some trucks with Henry around here and this and that, and you know, was doing everything I was supposed to do. Meanwhile, my girls got taken care of. They got my family was able to somehow to come up with some money. My girls got their own apartment or whatever. My daughters are just phenomenal. I don't even know, they worked the whole time they was in high school. They paid for their own vehicles. I didn't help them out with it. They did it all on their own. Meanwhile, they made good grades. I was so blessed. I realized that, you know, how can I be so full of myself and neglect them, you know, like I did. You know, I was just, man, what a fool I am. What a fool I am. But anyway, I'm up here, and I'm just really touched by this place up here. This place up here is holy ground. And so anyway, meanwhile, I go back to court 2 different times. Now see, a lot of y'all up here may be mandated up here, you know, the courts tell y'all got to come up here to, you know, get yourself out of trouble and this and that. But, you know, I came up here on my own or whatever because I thought, you know, I was really trying to play the system where if I went before the judge, you know, went to court, you know, it's going to be a little bit more lenient on me. And I thought, well, you know what, there might be a chance I go to prison, but, because meanwhile, what I found out was they changed the trafficking charge to possession with intent because they waited too long to send the drugs to the lab. They waited like 5 months so the drugs dried out. And 28 grams is a trafficking charge. It's a $250,000 fine and mandatory 10 years. But my weight come back 27.6 grams. And I was like, that had to be God right there. I mean, man, what in the world, you know? But anyway, meanwhile, I've received the Lord into my heart, and it's changed my whole way of thinking and everything. And, you know, a lot of y'all, when you graduate from up here, it's a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people. I know after I left, I found out about a lot of people up here that, you know, was up here while I was up here, and they relapsed, and, you know, there was a lot of people that fall back or whatever, and there's some of y'all, you know, you'll stay up here or whatever, but this place is really holy ground up here, and, you know, and while you up here, man, make the best of it. Make the best of it. Do not, this is a blessing to be here, a blessing. You don't even understand it, man. What Mr. Donald and Miss Joanne, the things they've done. Heck, I built helped build that dorm over there while I was here. But when I come back, but anyway, make a long story short, I know I'm rambling. But my brother come up here on a Sunday night, gave his testimony, and anyway, that's the first time I got to hear my brother's testimony. Well, that Wednesday I was going to court. That Tuesday before that. Tuesday before the day I go to court, we had a healing service up here. And man, this whole place was packed. They were putting hands on people, and man, it was a powerful thing or whatever. And I could feel it. Every time I walked in here, I could feel the Holy Spirit. And it was, so I really wasn't concerned about, you know, going to prison. I said, you know what, if I go to prison, I'm gonna give God the glory. You know, I thought about Paul, and, you know, when he was in prison or whatever, and shackled up or whatever, and they were singing those praises and stuff. And, you know the story about all that. But you know, that's what I got to do. And if God does send me to prison, it's because I gotta get into the Word. You know, He's gonna do it for a reason. He's gonna put me in the Word. Well, anyway, they had the healing service up here, and getting ready to dismiss everybody. Pastor Max says, "Is there anybody else?" And I got a cousin that stands up in the back, and she says, "Hold on, we got to pray for Clay Morris. He's going to court tomorrow." And I said, "Oh Lord." So anyway, they put my hands on me, they prayed, and I remember leaving this place the next morning. Eric subpoenaed. He was the counselor. I got him subpoenaed, so when he went to court with me, and he's RSAP certified, you know. and he tells him that, I passed all my drug tests. I always had a way to try to manipulate everything, you know what I mean? Try to stop playing, But in the end of the day, you can't hide nothing from God, That's one thing you can't do. You can't hide nothing from God. But anyway, so I went to court, and I remember the day leaving here, and everybody, telling me good luck and all this stuff. And this is on March 28th, and I wasn't supposed to graduate until June the 16th, and so I'd only been up here a couple months. And anyway, they gave me a 10 do 5. That's what I ended up getting, and I won't never forget it. Eric stood up there and talked. My brother stood up there and talked about me, and man, the judge just kind of laughed or whatever. And they was in for me, so I get locked up, and I go back straight from court, and I don't ever come back out here. They took up a little offering for me, and some of the guys here put some money on my books while I was there, and I wrote that little letter, and I was all grateful for that and everything. But anyway, so I go to prison, and as I'm going to prison, I stayed in the county for about a month. Well, you go to prison and you get ready to go. You got to go to Jackson. They ship you from Bullock County. You go to Reedsville, and all other counties come in, and then you get on that Grey Goose, and you go right on up there to Jackson, and then they send you to wherever you're going. Most of the time, you got to go through diagnostics in Jackson or some coastal down there. If you get lucky or whatever. But so I'm sitting there in the holding cell. This Mexican right there. I got my Bible with me. Meanwhile, while I'm in the county and I left this place, I'm all in the Bible. I'm reading the scriptures, but I got understanding now. I finally got understanding. For the first time, I've been able to read something and understand it. And I started in the New Testament, and I read, all the stories, and just was amazed at it, anyway, so I'm sitting there, and one of the verses that this Mexican sitting there, he's holding his Bible, and he says, he pointed out to this verse, and anyway, I was like, it's Revelations chapter 2, verse 10. And it says, do not be afraid of what you're about to suffer, I tell you. The devil will put some of you into prison to test you, and you will suffer persecution for 10 days. But be faithful, even unto the point of death, and I will give you the crown of life. Man, that was powerful. That just touched me right then. But I got down there, ended up, and they sent me to Coastal. I went to Jackson, rode all the way back to Savannah. And 2 days after I was there, I was in orientation, and this big, I'm up there in orientation, and all of a sudden there's a big thunder, rumble, the building's shaking and everything. And I look, there's a cloud of smoke way over there by my dorm. And I'm like, man, what's going on? And a big aircraft carrier leaving Hunter Airfield Base, it crashed right there on Highway 21, probably a quarter mile from the dorm right there, and killed 9 people, whatever. And I was thinking, I started thinking about Paul, and I said, man, they're gonna let me out of here, this guy like this, But anyway, I ended up staying at Coastal, and I ended up going to Clay County Prison. I got into the Word. I really soaked it up while I had the time there. While I was at Coastal Prison, they had Bible study on Mondays and Wednesdays. I got into the Word real strong. They had a choir there too. They got to sing to a service on Fridays and on Sundays, and I wanted to be a part of that, so I joined the choir. So on Mondays I was at Bible study. Tuesdays I was at choir practice. Wednesday I was back in Bible study. Thursday I was back in choir practice. And I took advantage of everything I could do to get into that Word. I really did. And meanwhile, y'all know that, man, there's more drugs in prison than there are out here on these streets. There's more drugs and things that go on in this prison that, I don't wish that on anybody, But I wasn't even worried about it because, you know what, I knew I had God in my heart. I knew God was watching over me. And but meanwhile, I missed my daughter's their graduation. I missed the 18th birthday. All the things that I'm missing or whatever, and I'm sitting here, but God got me through all this stuff, and I had to give Him the glory for all of it. It really changed me. But so I'm soaking up the Word and everything. I graduated. There's a little program down at Coastal, and I go to Clayton County Prison up in Atlanta. Still thinking I'm getting out pretty soon, but anyway, I end up staying up there all the way till next year of April. And they sent me to the TC back down to Savannah. So I'm back on the shackled up on that Grey Goose again, going back down to Savannah. And when you get down there, it's a halfway house, so you get your cell phone and all the little things that get you in trouble, really. And but it was a dark place. One thing my brother preached about on his testimony the Sunday night before I went to court and everything was about creating your climate to be able to receive the Holy Spirit. And a lot of us, if you ain't in the right setting while you trying to receive the word, or if you ain't in the right mindset, you got to create your own climate around you. You're going to be in some places, some dark places. You're going to be around people. But if you ain't, you can't just, if you want to receive the Holy Spirit, you got to create your own climate sometimes. And that's the only way you can receive it. And anyway, so I got to the TC down there, and it was really a trap house. Basically, there was more drugs there. I seen more stuff there. The TC was really probably the worst thing for me. But anyway, I ended up, I worked at the hotel, and anyway, I had a little money saved up. I got out December the 2nd. And I had a plan the whole time. I was coming back up here to New Beginnings. I was going to come here, and I was going to finish up and graduate from here. And but I got out December the 2nd, 2019, and went back to that same old girl. Anyway, meanwhile, my stepfather had passed away. One thing I do need to say, when the day's August the 9th, and it's really a special day. I didn't know it at the time, but when I came back up here and finally visited about a month ago, I was a baptism going on, and as I was leaving, Wendell came up to me. Wendell had been here only probably a couple weeks before I went to court and everything, and I told him, I said, yeah. He said, man, I remember the day you left and everything. And I said, yeah, I got a story to tell, And anyway, I said, yeah, I'm gonna give my testimony here one day. And anyway, so August the 9th is the same day that my stepfather passed away a year ago, whatever. My mother's husband for 38 years, and it's also my brother and his wife's anniversary. I didn't know none of that at the time, but it's really a special day. But anyway, I got out on December 2nd. In 2 days, I transferred everything down to Brunswick because I need to go down there and take care of my mother. I figured it was a good move for me to get away from Bullitt County and around some of the people or whatever. But, even though I wasn't around the people that I used to hang around, I was still in contact with them. And that's still no good, That's still no good. I mean, you can have family, girlfriends, all this stuff, but if they still about that life, or they still all about the old you, then and they don't have God in their heart, you ain't never gonna make it. You ain't never gonna make it because you gotta. It's a fight every day. It's a fight every day just to stay clean. But at the same time, if you got distractions around you, if you got God in your heart, but you have distractions all around you, whatever, and it's gonna draw you back into that. But anyway, I went back to that same girl, and so I was a sloth for about 2 months down there in Brunswick, sleeping on the couch down there, watching TV, blah, blah, blah. I didn't take this back. I didn't do any drugs the whole time I was locked up, but for some reason, I got back around that girl. I backslid a couple times or whatever. But I was convicted in my heart, and I knew that I was wrong, and anyway, I wasn't about it, and anyway, I even got rid of her a couple times, and sometimes I'd let her come back. Anyway, I finally got a job. I had a couple trucking jobs, and they were going to hire me and everything, but once they seen that I just got out of prison, they kind of backed off, and then this Corona thing started. And but I got a job at a fence company down there, believe it or not, down there in Brunswick or whatever, and boy, I was glad to be back out there putting up fence. And so I'm working hard and everything. Got promoted. Everything was kind of starting to change in my life, starting to lift up. But still, my plan was to come back up here and give this testimony back in February. That's what my plan was while I was locked up. But I grew away from God while I was at that TC, and it don't take, but the devil will get an inch. He's gonna keep nudging you. That's why you got to stay locked in with God. If you're not locked in with God, the devil's going to every time you come in, he's going to try to jump on your back, and hold you down or whatever. But the main thing is the people around you. You got to have that support team around you. All these, I tried to stay friends with everybody, but I learned, man, it ain't never going to work. It ain't never going to work. But, so I'm working down there with the fence company. Everything's going good. I had let the girl come back again in May. But I knew, and my mama told me, Mama said, she ain't no good. My brother, and the thing is, the Holy Spirit's telling me the whole time that, you know what, this woman is not no good for you. You can't, it's never going to work. But you know what, I don't know. I just ignored it, and she told me what I wanted to hear, and, you know, I just kept letting her back in. And anyway, my birthday rolled around, but I broke up with her, and I kind of recorded everything. The girl said she's going to try to send me back to prison, and just all kind of stuff. She still had some of her stuff there at the house, and it was I didn't know it at the time. I thought I'd gotten rid of all of it, but she had some drug paraphernalia still there in the house, which I didn't know nothing about. But anyway, make a long story short, right after my birthday, I spent it with my mom. I came to Statesboro that Saturday to have lunch with my dad and my brother. And everything's going good in my life. I got promoted at my job. Man, I got my own truck, my own crew. Everything's going good. And this girl messaged me or whatever. She's out right here with me now. She's my girlfriend now. But she messaged me. And my dad always said, you know what, you got to find you a godly woman. Eh? You know, you can't keep running around with these little tramps and all this stuff, you know, and these little we call them dirty butts, but you can't run around with them. They ain't no good. They're going to drag you right back into that life, you know. And anyway, but this girl, we've known each other 30 years ago. We went to church together. When we got to school, I like I didn't even know her. I wouldn't even have nothing to do with her or whatever. I was all snob and everything, but she messaged me on my birthday and told me happy birthday, and I hadn't talked to her. I messaged her back. And anyway, I come to Statesboro, went and seen some of my old friends or whatever. This ain't been nothing but about a month ago, now, 2 months ago when all this other stuff happened. I ain't even got to that yet. But anyway, I'm finna sum all this up, y'all. But anyway, I got reconnected with her, went to Statesboro. I came back that Sunday, and we talking and everything. I was going to go to meet her on a Tuesday after I got off work. Well, when I come home from work, I get in the shower. I got rained out a little early. I'm in the shower, and all of a sudden I hear this big knocking on the door, and it's my PO and the Glenn County drug unit. They come swarming in on my house. Mom was sitting there and everything, and they pulled me out the shower and everything, and man, they going through my house, and I'm talking about, this ain't been nothing now 2 months ago now. And but I know, I don't live that life no more, and I know that I hadn't done anything. But this is crazy. Why would they be coming in my house like this? Why would they be doing this? God, why is this happening to me? I couldn't understand it, But anyway, so they couldn't find nothing. They went and they found some kind of paraphernalia that the girl had had left in a box or whatever. She told me she was gonna send me back to prison, but anyway, lo and behold, I get locked up and they bond me out or whatever, but parole puts a hold on me. And I'm sitting back in the cell, and I'm like, man, what in the world am I doing? Man right here, Cameron right here, he was in the same little dorm I was in. I seen him when I came in, but man, I was a lost soul. I just couldn't figure it out. But all I did is I kept my faith, though, because I knew that I was innocent. I knew I hadn't done nothing. They, didn't have no drugs in the system. I was going to be okay. Everything was going to work out. I just had to keep that faith in the Lord. But I got back in that Bible and I was reading and I prayed and everything else. Then after about 20 days, my PO came to me and I done this Father's Day, and my dad's birthday, all this in 20 days right here. And he told me, he goes, Mr. Morris, all these charges are going to be dropped. And, we're gonna let you go or whatever. But you definitely need to. They got an anonymous tip that I was in trafficking drugs again. I don't know where that came from, but I mean, I'm out here busting my butt, man, working, doing the right things. But you know what it was? Just them small little rounds I made around Statesboro when I come around, and I still had these same people around me. Not necessarily around me, but I'm in contact with them. And all that was somebody that was, that had something against me maybe or whatever. It might have been that girl. I don't know. They kind of hinted around that it was her, but we can't never prove them. But I think it was God. God, and another thing, also waking me up, telling me, you know what, you need you come a long ways, but you ain't where you need to be yet. You still got to straighten your butt up, man. You still got to daggum. It's a hard coat to tote. You got to if you're gonna tote it, you got to be willing and ready for it. You got to surrender all. You got to surrender everything. You can't just be half in, half out. What I say, the faith without works is dead. Yeah, I had all kind of faith, but you know what? I was putting in that work like I was supposed to. And so when I got out, this girl, she actually came to see me while I was at the jail or whatever, and I didn't know when I was getting out. I didn't know if they were sending me back to prison or whatever. She drove all the way from 5-day for a 15-minute video visitation. And I knew she was a godly girl and everything, but, I said, man, what she got? She just felt sorry for me. That's the only reason she came down here, But anyway, I got out on the 30th or whatever. Lo and behold, I don't know how it happened, but by the grace of God, I got out. I got back to the house or whatever, and as the week went by, I went and met her, and I said, Lord, what's her family gonna think of me? What's she think of me? She just feels sorry for me or whatever. But she's a good godly woman or whatever. And make a long story short, she came back and she don't judge me for what there's people out there, believe it or not, even though we drug addicts, recovering drug addicts, and we got problems and stuff, but there's people out there, that have a heart, and if you surround yourself with godly people, they're not going to judge you for your past and stuff. You know what? The past is what makes you who you are today. The past is what you can't change what all was happening in your past. All it's going to do is build your character up. But at the same time, all the things you can do is be responsible for yourself. Every time I ever did anything bad, I always had good intentions. But you know what? It's being accountable. Being accountable for what you do. That's what you get judged on and everything. And then, of course, and everything else. But it's what you do when you leave here. When you leave here tonight or whatever, or when you graduate this program, if you ain't applied yourself while you're here, it's all in vain. You ain't gonna get nothing out of it. You just wasting everybody's time. That's all you're doing. And if one thing tonight, I hope I know this is I told a long story or whatever about I could have talked for 2 weeks if I'd have told everything, but anyway, I wasn't gonna do that to you, and I know y'all ready to get out of here, but I come back up here after I went and met this girl. I was telling her about New Beginnings, and she said, well, let's go. And so that's when I came back up here for the first time, about probably when y'all had the baptism about a month ago or whatever. And anyway, when I walked in this place, man, I said, man, this place is holy ground. And man, I just felt the Holy Spirit when I walked in here. And praise God that I'm not the man that I used to be. And that song Redeemed, man, that song Redeemed was talking about me. That song was talking about me. And any of y'all out there, y'all need anything, somebody to talk to, anything, I don't care if you get jammed up, whatever. Man, I'm here for you. I ain't gonna turn my back on no. I won't never turn my back on a brother. Never. Hey, you gotta receive it while you're here though. If you don't open your heart up and receive it, it's all in vain. And ain't none of it gonna happen.